Yo, what is up guys? So we're here to showcase off the new Mythical Beast. Now, this is a pendulum deck that revolves around spell counters. Very old. This hasn't gotten support in so many years. We're talking about like 10 years plus until we've actually gotten like some really decent support for a whole spell counter mechanics in Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, the new mechanic is basically relatively strong, as you guys will see during these replays, courtesy of Mr. Bruce Wayne from Batman. But the main boss monster that I wanted to mention right here, and I'll go over the effects briefly once we go ahead and do the deck profile and give you guys that recipe. But anyways, the whole archetype is basically revolving around spell counters, and when you remove spell counters, you do certain things. And there's an excellent card called Magical Citadel of Endymion, a really old card. His opponent just like basically got OTK'd over here. I mean, we got a 5,600 attack monster that can banish another monster and gain a boost of attack. And then on top of that, you have Astrograph Sorcerer. It's just another like kind of monster just to kind of be there. Also just a great card in general for a lot of just Pendulum Magician decks. But I'll go over the effects a little bit more in depth. I just want to give you guys some of the replays so I can talk about it while we see it in action. But yeah, one of their boss monsters is the Cerberus, and like I said, we'll see Cerberus over and over again because that's basically the key card in the deck. And basically what it does is you're able to banish a monster and also gain its attack. So you get rid of a problematic card, and then on top of that, most things in Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to say are about like 2,400 attack that you would actually summon and leave on the field and then go go ahead for your opponent. So like at that point, it's already got a decent amount of attack. It's got 2,800 in the first place, and you just special summon it with magical boosters. Tons of other effects where you just special summon a monster from your deck that you can place a spell counter on. A lot of them have like effects of just special summoning stuff that just can place a spell counter on. Now, you do have to actually remove some spell counters to utilize the effect. Okay, well, the card was going a little too fast. Okay, so this is the card I wanted to go over. Oh, gosh. Game, slow down. I want to read the effect of Cerberus. Anyways, so it has the monster effect where each time a spell card is activated, you place 2 spell counters on it when the card resolves. And if there are 4 or more, he actually has the ability to make it so he cannot be destroyed by card effects. And then he can remove 4 of the spell counters. Oh gosh, where did he go? He's right here now. Okay, so he has the ability to remove 4 spell counters. So basically that's just whenever 2 spells are activated. He's able to actually banish a card, and then until the end of your opponent's turn, it gains that amount of attack. And that effect is actually pretty good. Now, you can't activate that effect multiple times per turn, but I mean, like I said, it's going to be like 5,000 plus attack majority of the time. And then on top of that, if you get rid of one monster and you can summon like anything else, because it is a pendulum-based deck. I mean, I know we have the whole mechanics of the whole pendulums. You got to have like the proper link monsters to actually be able to go for the face-up pendulum monsters in your extra deck. However, I feel like this deck, it's so fast, it's not really that necessary. We see the guy over here. You try to probably play the new Gladiator Beast. He's got the Secutor, which actually has the effect, and then he's got 2 face downs over here. There's also another card that I want to mention real quick for the archetype. There's Jackal, and then I want to go over Garuda over here. Oh gosh, it's just the cards are too fast. All right, hold on. There's Garuda. All right, so a lot of them have the effect where like if you control no other card in your other pendulum zone, you're able to just like get rid of it and then you do something. All right. But anyways, Garuda has the pendulum effect where, again, if you control no other card in your other pendulum zone, you target one spell trap and destroy it, both this and that card. So basically, it fills your pendulum extra deck, then the face up, with extra cards. You can definitely go for, obviously, the Pendulum Summon in this deck, but I feel like the main goal of the deck is just summon Mythical Beast Cerberus and then just try to banish something and gain an absurd amount of attack. We see a Laquari actually gaining the extra 100 attack, so it's able to attack over courtesy of Tenki. He goes for Augustus to summon another copy of Augustus to summon Bestiar. Bestiar is going to try to destroy that, but Endymion is actually able to protect itself. Then we see the Geysaurus actually summoned over here, and because it's had enough spell counters, it's immune to destruction. Obviously, this can't be destroyed. He's able to just banish a card. It's got over 5,000 attack again, and it's like the same thing. I mean, that's what Mythical Beast Cerberus does in the whole spell counter deck. I'll give you guys a deck profile in a second. I just want to show you guys a few variety duels over here. The Spiral player, I don't know, maybe he didn't read the card's effect, because sometimes what happens, guys, is when we overlook some of these decks and, you know, a meta player, like a guy playing like Spirals over here, he didn't open up pretty, I don't know what his hand exactly was, but he ends up just foolishing the Spiral Mission Rescue. But I don't think he read the cards, and that's sometimes what's kind of good with playing these like rogue random decks, right? Your opponent doesn't know how to play against it. Now we have Medusa over here that's able to, when you have no cards in other pendulum zone, you can target a monster in your graveyard and then go ahead. Oh gosh, come on, game. You're special summoning too fast. I can't read the cards. Okay, we'll go over most of their effects in just a second. It's just too fast. But we also have Power of the Guardian over here. So again, all the stuff is revolving around spell counters. That's how you use some of the monsters effects, which we'll get into in a second. So he decides, he's like, you know what, this guy's got a bunch of stuff on board. I'm going to Black Rose the field, which that's not a good idea because his card's actually immune to destruction because it actually had 4 spell counters on it. It actually has 6 at the moment. The guy goes for a Link Karibo, but I think he realized it doesn't matter. He's going to attack into one thing and then you Link Karibo attack directly with no monsters left on the field. Wait, hold on. This one's like a blowout. The guy doesn't even have a chance. This one's actually kind of cool. But yeah, again, that's just basically the core of the deck is basically this card. Alright, let me go over the Jackal's effect over here. So, again, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you get to target 1 card you control and then place a spell counter on it, destroy this card. And if you do place a spell counter on that card, you can only use its effect once per turn. And since the pendulum cards do count as spells in the first place, you're basically getting like double spell counters instantly on your stuff. And then obviously with that effect of the Cerberus over here, each time a spell card is activated, you're able to basically just get out Cerberus' effect like instantly, because as soon as a spell card resolves, you just get 2 counters on it, and the monster already places like a counter on it immediately anyways, and then obviously again it's already a spell card. So anyways, this card is actually destroyed over there courtesy of the Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, but we see the Pendulum Paradox activated because the cards are kind of free anyways, because they just destroy and go over there, and they already give you like a bonus effect already in the first place, and you have a very, very good consistency with this deck. Like, even though, again, it is a pendulum-based deck, for the most part, you're basically just special summoning like 2 of these, and again, that's the point of the deck, alright? We've seen Mythical Beastmaster Cerberus like in every single move, because that's basically what the deck does. So let's go ahead and go into a deck profile. Now I can hopefully talk about the cards without the card swapping over here. First off, we have a copy of Maxi in this build. Shout out to Bruce Wayne for the deck profile as well, as you guys saw from the replays. But yeah, Maxi is just an excellent card. If you're playing against Spirals, you're going to have a good time if you play this card. You guys saw during the replays. The Spiral player, I don't think he knew what to do against this deck, because again, sometimes these random or just these decks that are less popular, people don't know what to do against them because it's not meta. But yeah, this card was just, it was there. Like, had he had the Terraforming go off deck, the Spiral player probably would have made a really nasty field to deal with. But with Mythical Beastmaster Cerberus, he actually has 2 effects. So the first effect is if you have no control, as a pendulum effect, by the way, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you destroy it, and then you get to add 1 level 7 or lower Mythical Beast effect monster from your deck to your hand. So this basically searches out your entire deck for the most part. And then as a monster effect, we already went over it. That's where you place 2 spell counters whenever a spell card is activated. So basically, as long as your opponent activates 1, or heck, you can activate, you know, there's no like real limit on it. Some of these spell counters cards back in the day, they had like a max, like you can only have so many like spell counters on it. These, I believe, most of the new cards, they just don't have any limit on it, so that's really good. But yeah, that's this guy over here. And then when you got 4 more, that's the I get to banish a monster, then boost up my attack to like 5,000 plus. And then on top of that, it lasts until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you have a monster that I want to say basically it can't be destroyed by battle because it has that effect, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So basically, you're forcing your opponent to try to bounce it back. And I was actually considering, like, if I was to play this deck, maybe Effect Veilers could be an option in the deck, because I mean, the monster, like I said, it protects itself already through like Dark Hole or Regeki. The only thing that would really stop it is like a monster effect that would bounce back. Because again, once you activate that effect, usually it's going to be 5,000 plus attack. because yeah, it's gonna be able to get that boost, and it banishes. Next up we have 3 copies of Astrograph Sorcerer. It's just like kind of a solid card overall because it's just good for that pendulum effect where you can destroy the card and then take a Stargazer, a Magician from your hand or your deck, and then place it in either your Pendulum Zone or special summon it. And then as a monster effect, if a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon it from your hand and then choose one monster in your graveyard or extract that is banished and that was destroyed this turn. You can add a monster with the same name from your deck to your hand, and then also you can banish this card you control plus 4 monsters from your hand, field, and or graveyard with each Pendulum Dragon, XYZ Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon in their names. Just special summon a Supreme King Zark from your extract and treat as fusion. So now we're not going to be going for that effect, but nonetheless, it's just got also a scale of 1, so it can kind of help out with this. I believe a while back, this was actually one of the first cards that had like a scale of 1 that was actually like decent. That didn't have like some like extreme condition, but it's just another card that you can kind of use like as a stepping stone to make other plays. Next up, okay, so the main important cards for the deck is now what we're going to be going over, because this is like the most important card, but you've seen it. So first up, the Jackal. A lot of them have the effects, and I'm just going to say this one because, again, the effects overlap, is where if you have no cards in your other Pendulum Zone, you destroy it, and then you get some type of effect. All these monsters have the effect. In fact, I want to say that's how the archetype is actually designed as of right now. But anyways, Jackal, again, they have that effect where if you know your other Pendulum, you destroy it, and then you get some type of effect. So this one lets you special summon 1 mythical beast Pendulum monster from your extra deck except for itself. So basically this lets you get out like another like big beater. And then we have 3 copies of the mythical beast Basilisk over here. Oh wait, hold on, sorry, my bad. I didn't go over its monster effect of Jackal. Jackal has the monster effect of each time a spell is activated, you place 2 counters on it. And then, oh, by the way, this is all when the spell resolves. But anyways, once per turn, when an opponent monster activates its effect, as a quick effect, you can remove 2 spell counters from your field, negate the activation, and destroy that card. So this card is actually really strong to actually, you know, obviously stop something from going off. And it's a pretty easy effect, because usually people, they activate like a field spell or something. Like, this is really a decent card for a lot of decks that really utilize spell cards, which pretty much every deck does. And then next up with Basilisk over here. So it has the pendulum effect. Again, you destroy it, and then if you destroy it, you get to shuffle 1 face-up spellcaster pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck, and then you get to draw a card. So this is the draw power, I guess, of the deck. And then as a monster effect, it has the effect of each time a spell card is activated, you place 1 spell counter on this card, and when that spell resolves, and then you can remove 3 spell counters from your field to return 1 mythical beast card from your Pendulum Zone or face up from your extract to the hand. So this lets you recycle some of the cards. So this is like, it's like engine of recycling plus draw power. Then you have Medusa over here. So Medusa's pendulum effect has the effect of once you destroy it, and then you can just summon a monster that you can place a spell counter on it, and then that's it. You can only activate its effect. So you target 1 monster in graveyard that you can place a spell counter on. Okay, there you go. So basically, this is basically special summon this card. Or you can special summon a lot of things, but basically, in a nutshell, it's just the special summon mechanic of Medusa. And then we have 3 copies of Garuda. Garuda is actually pretty cool over here. So again, has that effect. No cards in the Pendulum Zone, and then you can target 1 other spell and trap on the field and destroy both of them. And so you destroy this and 1 spell trap. So this is, I guess, your destruction. Again, most of the stuff is like searchable in the deck anyways through the effect of one of the best cards, which is Cerberus. And then as its monster effect, when your opponent normals or special summons a monster, except for during the damage step, you remove 3 spell counters from your field to special summon this card from your hand, and then you return the monster or monsters your opponent summoned it to the hand. You can only activate its effect once per turn, and each time a spell card is activated, you place 1 spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. I like this card. Anytime they're activating something that special summons multiple monsters, because there's a lot of cards, this day and age, where your opponent will special summon multiple things at the same time. And if that happens to go off, you get to bounce all of them back to the hand. That is pretty cool. I like that effect. The stats on it are mediocre, but obviously if you're bouncing things back, it'll probably be okay. And then you can kind of reset some of the cards with maybe the Basilisk or things like that. But then lastly over here for the monster lineup, we have Jackal. So for Jackal's pendulum effect, you destroy that, and then you get to place a spell counter on one of the cards. and then you get to place another spell. You can target one card you control, then you can place a spell counter, you destroy it, and if you do, you get to place a spell counter on that card. And then as a monster effect, each time a spell card is activated, you place one spell counter on this card, and when that spell resolves, and then you can move 3 of them, and then tribute this card to special one mythical beast effect monster from your deck except for itself. So this, again, basically lets you get out this card. Most of the time, again, guys, it's just this card, and then you activate Medusa's effect, and then get out like another one, and then from there you should be good to go, and you'll usually finish off your opponent. I actually was considering like Raigeki and Darkhold would be pretty good in this deck. Simply because if you go off with, like, it's really easy to go for a game, I would say, in this deck, just in general. Just because, again, you banish one monster and you have like 5,000 plus, and then you just summon like anything else. It's pretty much going to be game. So I think Darkhold and Raigeki would be great additions to this deck. But now we're jumping into the spell lineup. So first off, we have 3 copies of Pendulum Paradox, because you're going to be destroying your own cards over and over. This is just like this is almost like an easy +1 for the deck. It's almost like a Pot of Greed, if you will, of the deck, because this lets you actually draw a card. This lets you basically search whatever you want. Like, this is like a Pot of Greed, basically, in the deck. Then we have 1 copy of Terraforming. We have 2 copies of Duelist Alliance, so this just lets you add a Pendulum monster or Pendulum Spell Trap from your deck to your hand. And then we have 1 copy of Megaton Magical Cannon, so you remove 10 spell counters, and you get to destroy all cards on your opponent's side of the field. This is a pretty cool card. It's pretty cheeky. I mean, it's obviously going to be hype if you can pull it off. I'm not sure if I would recommend it, but it is there for the hype plays. And then next up, we have 3 copies of Magical Boost. So this makes it so you send the top 2 cards from your deck to the graveyard. You can target 1 card on the field that you can place a spell counter on it, and you place up to 2 spell counters on it. Plus, it's already a spell card, so you're going to be placing counters on it in the first place. And then if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you get to spell summon 1 monster from your deck that you can place a spell counter on it. And if you do place 2 more spell counters on it, that is really cool. Like, it's such a prank card, because your opponent gets rid of it. Just use your chain it, man. It's a really prank effect. And then next up, we have 3 copies of Power of the Guardian. This is an equip card that lets you activate it, and it says, when an attack is declared involving the equipped monster, you get to place 1 spell counter on this card. The equipped monster gains 500 deck, attack and defense for each spell counter on this card. If the equipped monster will be destroyed by battle by card effect, you remove from play, remove 1 spell counter from your field instead. So that is kind of interesting. It doesn't have to remove cards or counters from itself. I'm not sure how I personally feel about this card. I feel like equip cards are just kind of not the greatest. If it made it so the monster could not be targeted by other card effects, I would consider it. However, I'm just not a fan of this. I know it is technically part of the, I guess, the archetype of the whole spell counter mechanics, but again, I can't recommend it myself. It's got really cool artwork. If you guys didn't know, we have like gravity. Oh gosh, let me go mouse over it. We have like gravity axe over here. This is like shooting star bow seal, twin swords of something. And then a butterfly dagger. I'm like, these are legendary equip cards. I remember just playing back in the day. Guardian Elma had an FTK play with it. But yeah. And then lastly, for the field spells, we have Magical Citadel of Endymion. So this makes it so each time a spell card is activated, you just place 1 spell counter on this card. And then if a card with a spell counter is destroyed, place a spell counter on this card. And then once per turn, if you would activate a card effect by removing spell counters, you can actually remove from this card instead. And if this card would be destroyed, you can get to remove a spell counter from this card instead. One excellent thing with this is the new addition of having multiple field spell cards. So this card is just really good in general. Like, so many decks just rely off of field spells these days, and it just works really well. And like I said, I feel like the deck, as of right now, it seems like it only really has like 1 option. I mean, this card, again, it's good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like majority of games are with this deck in its like correct form to play. If you want to actually win, it's just going to be this guy. Again, this guy is great. Unfortunately, its effect is only going to be once per turn. If you could activate this effect where you get to just go ahead and, where is it? Yeah, you can only use this effect once per turn. Where you get to remove, play 3, just remove 3 spell counters, and you get to like negate a, what is it? What's this one? Oh, you return a mythical beast card from your pendulum zone. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, this wasn't the card. I'm sorry, it was Jackal. Jackal. The remove 2 when a this is the one. Okay, yes. Okay, so Jackal's. I'm sorry. It wasn't. Basilisk was the draw power card. Jackal is the one where you remove 2 spell counters to negate the activation and effect of the monster effects, and that is a once per turn effect. If you could activate Jackal's effect like infinite times, I would say this deck is really, really good, but unfortunately you cannot. So like, I really would like this card to be, for the sake of like my opponent's activating like, you know, any hand traps, I'm just going to negate those, and if he activates anything else, it just negates for days with this card, if it could be infinite times. But yeah, pretty much this is like the go-to card right now. As far as the extra deck, I mean, we didn't really see them too often, but I'm going to mouse over this. So we have Galaxy Eye Cypher Blade, Full Armor, Harbinger, Titanic. Then we got the Cypher Dragon, number 107. Then we have Divine Dragon Knight Felgran. We have the Utopia lineup, number 41, 101. Tornado Dragon, Castell, Star Liege, and Abyss Dweller, and Cowboy for the last card in the extra deck. But anyways, guys, thank you, Bruce Wayne, for sending in this deck. I think that some people will be interested in trying it out because spell counters is like a really outdated mechanic in the game. Like as far as I feel, again, I just feel like this card isn't that great. I feel like Regeki and Dark Hole would be great additions to this deck, even Twin Twisters, just to get the cards in the graveyard because you can utilize some of the other cards. However, you know, obviously if they went back to the face up into the extra deck, Pendulum Paradox would be even better, but obviously you can destroy them, so you have some play with that as well. But for the most part, I would say it's kind of a gimmicky deck, but it is, I would say, relatively consistent at what it's trying to do. However, is this going to be beating Spirals? I don't feel like it can. However, if you put in cards like Grinder Golem and other things, you can definitely try to put up more of a fight and try to bait out the back rows, because if you go for Grinder Golems, most people will bait out like the Solemns and stuff like that. So I think that could be a great addition to this deck. As well as, again, maybe Effect Leather if you want something to survive for another turn. But I feel like maybe it's not really necessary because, again, the play is basically Cerberus, Banish, gain 5,000, summon anything else, and then attack for game, hopefully with nothing left on the field. So Regeki Darkle, highly recommend them. Although if you activate that, that card might not get that boost, so you gotta just keep that in mind if you're going for those OTK plays. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed seeing the new Mythical Beast spell counter deck in action. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh decks in action.